Here's something nobody actually tells you. Confident people don't feel fearless on the inside. They're simply scared people who moved forward anyway. That's the entire secret. Give me 8 minutes, and I'll walk you through, step by step, in the simplest terms possible, how to build real confidence, not the fake kind. Not the version where you just repeat nice things to yourself in a mirror. I'm talking about the deep kind. The kind where you walk into a room and don't need a single person to validate that you belong there. Stick around for the whole video, because toward the end, I'll share the one piece almost nobody mentions, and it's the piece that changes everything. Let's begin with a lie you've probably heard before. Someone told you, just believe in yourself. Stand in front of the mirror. Tell yourself you're capable. Tell yourself you're strong. I tried that. I genuinely did. Every single morning for months, I stood in front of my mirror and said encouraging things to myself. And you know what happened? Nothing changed. I still felt jittery before speaking in front of people. I still felt tiny whenever someone turned me down. The mirror routine didn't move the needle at all. Here's why. Confidence isn't a feeling that arrives first. Confidence is something you earn only after doing something difficult. Read that again, because it flips the whole idea on its head. You don't feel courageous and then leap. You leap first, and the courageous feeling arrives afterward, like a friend who's always running a little late. Let me tell you a story. There was a kid, let's call him Marcus. Marcus was the quiet one in class. He never raised his hand. If a teacher called on him, his face went red and his voice shrank down to almost nothing. Everyone assumed Marcus would always be the shy one. But one summer, Marcus needed some cash, so he took a job outside a store, handing flyers to people walking by. Nobody trained him for it. He just had to stand there and try to get strangers to take a flyer. Day one was rough. His hands shook, his voice cracked. Most people walked straight past him like he wasn't even there. But Marcus kept showing up, the next day and the day after that. By the end of summer, Marcus wasn't the quiet kid anymore. He could talk to complete strangers with ease, like it was nothing at all. What actually changed? Not his personality. Marcus changed because he kept doing the uncomfortable thing, over and over, long before he felt ready for it. That's the whole secret, sitting right out in the open. Here's why most people stay frozen and never get there. They wait to feel ready before they act. But here's the issue. Your brain isn't designed to make you successful. Your brain has exactly one job, and that job is keeping you alive. Nothing more than that. So when you attempt something new or intimidating, your brain triggers a small internal alarm. It says, hold on, we don't know what happens here. This could be risky. Let's avoid this. That shaky sensation in your chest right before you speak up, before you hit send, before you walk into that room, isn't proof that you're unprepared. It's simply your brain running its outdated programming. It can't distinguish between a stressful meeting and an actual predator hiding in tall grass. To your brain, unfamiliar equals dangerous. So it sounds the alarm. The people who appear deeply confident aren't people who never hear that alarm. They're people who've learned to hear it ringing and keep moving forward regardless, alarm included. Now, most videos would end here and simply say, do scary things and confidence follows. But that's an incomplete answer, and honestly, it can backfire. If you jump straight to the scariest item on your list, you'll likely fail, feel worse than before, and your brain will say, see, told you that was dangerous, stay small permanently. So let me walk you through the actual steps, in the correct order, because sequence matters more than how brave you currently feel. 1. Shrink the scary thing down. If your goal is speaking in front of 500 people, don't start there. Start with saying one sentence out loud in a small team meeting. If your goal is launching your own business, don't start there either. Start by telling one person your idea today. Think of it like learning to swim. Nobody tosses a young kid straight into the deep end of a pool. You begin in the shallow section, where the water barely reaches your knees. Confidence functions the exact same way. You don't dive into the deep end of courage. You wade in gradually, one small step at a time. 2. Track your wins on paper, rather than trusting how you feel. Here's why this matters so much. Your brain is genuinely terrible at keeping accurate score. It will remember the single time you fumbled far more vividly than the 10 times you handled things perfectly fine. If you rely purely on your feelings, you'll almost always feel like you're falling short, even while actually doing well. So every single day, write down one thing you did that made you a little nervous. Maybe you spoke up in a meeting. Maybe you made eye contact with a stranger and said hi. Maybe you said no to something you'd normally agree to. At the end of the week, read that list back. You'll be genuinely surprised. Your brain will try to whisper that it wasn't enough. But the written list doesn't lie. The list is evidence, and evidence beats feelings every single time. Here's another story. There was a woman, let's call her Renee. Renee used to physically shake, genuinely shake, anytime she had to speak in front of more than 3 people. She declined every group project, She let other people take credit for her strong ideas, because saying them out loud felt like jumping off a ledge. Renee didn't fix this with one dramatic breakthrough moment. She fixed it gradually, doing something small and unremarkable every single day for an entire month. In group chats, she started adding one extra sentence sharing her actual opinion. In meetings, she began asking one small question. None of it looked impressive from the outside, but quietly, she was stacking up a mountain of evidence, one small brick at a time. Evidence that she could speak up and the world wouldn't fall apart. A month later, her manager asked her to lead a small presentation. The old Renee would have said, "Please pick literally anyone but me." The new Renee felt the exact same fear she always felt. Her heart pounded, her palms went cold. But this time, something new sat right beside that fear: evidence. 30 days of small wins whispering, "You've done frightening things before," and survived every single time. She said yes. She did it while trembling. She did it scared, and she did it anyway. 3. Stop trying to eliminate your fear before taking action. This is exactly where most people stay permanently stuck. They think, once the fear disappears, then I'll act. But that day never actually arrives. Fear doesn't leave before you act. It leaves afterward. Picture fear like a heavy backpack. You don't need to remove the backpack before you start walking. You just strap it on and walk anyway. It's uncomfortable, sure, but it doesn't stop your legs from moving. The people you assume are fearless aren't fearless at all. They've simply learned to carry the backpack instead of waiting for someone to lift it off their shoulders first. Here's the wild part, something you can actually feel happening in your own body. The moment right before you do the scary thing, your heart races, your palms sweat, your stomach twists. That's the peak of the discomfort. But the second you actually step forward, actually speak, actually hit send, the fear begins dropping almost immediately. Not because it vanished by magic, but because your brain just watched you survive the perceived danger, and it starts settling down in real time. Usually, it only takes around 60 seconds for the panic to fade into something completely manageable. 4. Practice small brave actions daily, not just occasionally. One brave moment doesn't make you confident permanently. The same way going to the gym once doesn't make you strong forever. Confidence behaves like a muscle. Muscles you stop using weaken again. This is exactly why some people feel confident in one area of life and timid in another. They've only trained the muscle in one specific place. So choose one small brave habit and repeat it daily, like brushing your teeth. Speak up once a day. Greet one new person daily. Share your honest opinion once a day, even when silence feels easier. Small, unglamorous, daily reps. That's the entire workout plan. No fancy equipment required. 5. Stop needing applause from other people. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of people chase confidence because they want others to notice and say, "Wow, you're so brave." But genuine, deep confidence, the kind that doesn't crumble when someone says something unkind or ignores you, comes from somewhere entirely different. It comes from being able to look at yourself, completely alone, with nobody watching, and know you kept a promise to yourself. That you did the small brave thing today, even though nobody saw it, even though nobody applauded. The moment you stop needing outside applause, you become nearly impossible to rattle. Someone can disagree with you, dismiss you, even laugh at you, and it barely registers, because your confidence isn't resting on their opinion of you, it's resting on your own daily evidence. So let's bring it all together simply. You don't wait to feel brave first, you act first. And the brave feeling shows up afterward. Like a friend who always runs a little late, you shrink your scary goal down. Small enough that it almost feels silly. You write down your wins instead of trusting your mood, because your memory distorts things, and your list doesn't. You carry the fear along with you, instead of waiting for it to disappear first. You take tiny, brave actions daily, so the muscle stays strong. And you stop needing the room to applaud, because the only applause that truly builds you is the quiet one you give yourself at the end of each day. That's it. That's the entire plan. No magic, no luck involved, just small, uncomfortable, daily action, stacked one on top of another, until one day you look up and realize the thing that used to terrify you doesn't even make your heart skip anymore. If this helped you even a little, do one thing for me. Type in the comments the one small scary thing you're going to do today. Just one. Writing it down somewhere other people can see it makes you significantly more likely to actually follow through. Trust me, it works.